Let's proceed now with my next installment of another Across Canada by Story, based upon Doug Gibson's Across Canada by Story. And I am proud to use my Trilliums as a segue to the Alice Munro country. Alice Munro's ancestors, the Laidlaws, came in 1818 all the way from their home in the Ettrick Valley in the Scottish borders. She would enjoy this picture as well as another taken from the English side towards Scotland. In 1866, Samuel Pratt tried drilling for oil in Goderich, but discovered the largest salt mine in the world. Goderich in Huron County is also known for its purity flour mills. Grain ships from Thunder Bay, formerly Port Arthur and Fort William, bring prairie grain to the harbour. Oil had been discovered at Oil Springs near Sarnia in 1858, and it was the first place in North America to drill commercially for oil. Sarnia is the home of Canadian astronaut Chris Hadfield, who was invited to be the honorary clan chief at the Sarnia Supreme Highland Games. On the day prior to the opening ceremonies, he grabbed his guitar and joined Bob Finlay and the Caledonians at the Cayley tent for a performance. So the Falls of Niagara wear steadily backwards. Have a gander at a picture that I took during my first flight to Buffalo, New York, in my early teens. Doug Gibson mentions Toronto again on this page. This is a neat spot to say something about William Frederick Cody, alias Buffalo Bill, his birthplace and his genealogy. He was baptized in 1847 in a small chapel at the northeast corner of Dundas and Cawthra in Mississauga, and lived for several years in his father's hometown of Toronto, Ontario, before his parents, Isaac Martin Cody and Mary Ann Laycock, returned with their family to the Midwest and settled in Kansas. The Quaker upbringing of the Codys and their anti-slavery sentiments often got them into trouble there. Bill returned to Toronto with his Wild West show in August of 1885 for a 3-day stop in Woodbine Park. This may have given him an opportunity, according to a family tale, to visit the other half of the family that settled north of Toronto. His 2 cousins from that family attended Buffalo Bill's funeral in Colorado when he died in 1917 at his sister's home. Ernest Leroy Cody and wife Janet McClellan lived in Sutton, Ontario, and Alan J. Cody and his wife Bessie Bell Ross lived in Sunderland and Newmarket, Ontario, where Alan served as a doctor. William Frederick Cody, February 26, 1846 to January 10, 1917, and his wife Louisa Maud Frederici, May 29, 1844 to October 21, 1921, are buried on Lookout Mountain, Colorado. Buxton was the end of the Underground Railroad. Clan Ross dedicated a plaque at Chatham's Freedom Park to honor Alexander Milton Ross on June 20th, 2009. Alex was Canada's greatest abolitionist and conductor of the Underground Railroad. I brought Stephen Duff, author of Hunter of Dreams, to the attention of the Clan Ross executive, and he was invited to participate in the ceremony. Pictures include the Freedom Quilt used to drape the plaque, Stephen Duff addressing members of the Black History Museum and Clan Ross, Clan Ross executive members at the plaque, and a book signing by Stephen Duff. At Buxton 3 years earlier, July 7, 2006, during the annual general meeting, pictures at Josiah Henson's Don Settlement include a museum plaque honoring Dr. Alexander Milton Ross, a display of instruments of torture used on those following the drinking gourd or Ross-ter, Uncle Tom's Cabin, the Buxton Schoolhouse, and the Buxton Church. Hold fast! Dr. Alistair MacLeod was another writer who was a guest speaker on April 6, 2005, when Doug Gibson was awarded the title Scot of the Year. As a member of the Scottish Studies Foundation and one of the authors whose works were published by Douglas Gibson, Alistair summed up the attributes of the newest recipient of the Scot of the Year award. Guelph celebrates another author in the person of Jean Little, a legally blind writer who lived in the Annesley Hall residence of Victoria College when she earned her B.A. in English Literature in 1955, the year after I obtained my undergraduate diploma. I admit that I was a more frequent visitor to the Wymelwood coffee shop. My wife and I attended the 2002 assembly at the Toronto CNIB when Jean received the Torgey Award for her book Willow and Twig. Jean has written over 40 books, which are available in 10 languages and Braille. She has numerous publishers, including McClellan and Stewart. She was made a member of the Order of Canada in 1993 and holds a number of honorary degrees.